Hello everyone, I'm Brofi1322 and welcome to another discussion video where I'm going to be doing a bit of an analysis on the Finance and Felony update that we got recently. I normally do these after every DLC, so I do all the testing for the cars and then do a discussion video like this, just talking about the DLC in general and my thoughts on it from a personal standpoint. First of all, I just want to say apologies that this is live stream footage. I normally obviously give raw 1080p footage with these videos especially on the discussion series, but there were problems with getting the PS4 on the live stream, and obviously with the amount of testing that I've had to do, it takes a long time. So the live stream was the only point where I was able to get some footage for this, and there was some good footage in there, so I figured I would just use the live stream footage instead, and I hope that's okay for this one. But yeah, the Finance and Felony DLC in general, I would say, is a success. I can't necessarily say that I'm unhappy with anything. Normally these videos are just a huge rant about all of the problems that Rockstar have caused, but don't worry, there is still some of that to come later on. But in general, as it sits right now, the majority of it is okay. I quite like the CEO aspects, all of the new buildings that they've released, the warehouses, things like that. That all looks fantastic. Some of the things that you can do and the general new features that are being brought to free roam are very good in that respect. It could very much end up like all the other free roam events where people just forget about them and don't do them. The VIP stuff. I think they all have a certain amount of once you've done it, it's not that special anymore. But it's good to see that we're still getting new stuff, and this was quite a big DLC in terms of the new things that we got for it. So I'm happy with that. The one thing that is a little bit annoying about it all is the cost of it. It is also the fact that you can only use this in public lobbies. So, you get the standard griefers and trolls who just fly around in a Hydra on purpose to kill people. But I do like the idea of having it in a free roam, a public session where people can disrupt what you're doing. That's the whole point of it. It would, to me, it would be pointless to have it in an invite only session where you can just go in with 3 friends and just farm it if you like. But the problem is that they've they're having issues with the things that they've put in the game before. So they've added tanks, they've added the laser in GTA Online, the Hydra. All of these, really high-powered vehicles, and because those are in the game, the CEO missions and things like that aren't as good as what they could be when you have someone else in one of those vehicles just disrupting it because they're just so powerful. But then there is the aspect that the team of people who are doing the VIP missions and the CEO missions could be able to get their own Hydra and fight it off that way. There is that aspect to it. So it's not too bad, and I certainly think that it has potential. It would be nice if the associates could get a bit more money from it instead. And I understand the cost of it in terms of, not everybody should be able to be a CEO. It's for the people who are rich. And that's the way that the world works and the way that the game works in general. I would say, but there's some things that I just can't get over in terms of the cost. For example, the safe I think costs 500k. The weapons locker, which costs 500k. Both of those have very, very limited use, but they cost such a huge amount of money. It's crazy that you could buy 3 or 4 sports cars. Well, certainly original sports cars when the game first came out, and you could buy 3 or 4 sports cars for the cost of a safe or a weapons locker. Some of the costs are getting a little bit out of hand now, but in general, the new additions are quite positive, and they're probably not going to go back and fix these things that people want fixing. They're probably not going to look at it again. I feel like it's very similar to yachts in that respect. They gave people what they wanted. They've given people the drug trafficking and the VIP missions and the CEO missions and stuff like that in the same way that they gave people the yachts. People wanted yachts for a while. But the main issue I have is that they never really go back to it and improve it. They just put it in there. They overprice everything, make people spend the shark cards, and then don't really go back to it and try to improve it or add anything new to it. So it quickly becomes stale. And I feel like that's a very similar feeling that you get with a lot of the stuff that they put into free roam. And that's mainly why, we do racing. We like racing, but we can always create new things, especially with the content creator. And we're always getting new vehicles. So there's always something fresh there from a racing perspective. Now, going on to the new vehicles, it's actually really impressive with the 2 new supercars. They're very, very well balanced. And we've seen this with the supercars. Now, I'm not going to include the Banshee 900R and the Sultan RS because clearly they should be in the sports class. But all of the recent supercars that we've seen from sort of the T20 onwards, well, the Osiris onwards, have all been very, very well balanced. And we've got a huge number of cars. We've got more cars at the top of the supercars class in such a close proximity. 7 cars are separated by 1 second than we've ever had in any other class before. This is the closest and most competitive class that we've ever had. So from that perspective, they've done a really, really good job with the balancing of the new cars, and I think they look fantastic as well, the brand new vehicles. The XLS in the SUVs class is obviously very, very overpowered. It's the new fastest SUV by a long, long way. And people were saying that the Huntley S was always the quickest. Well, yes, it was, but the new Ballers that were introduced recently with the Executives update actually closed that gap. And the Baller LE especially was quite close to the Huntley S, and you could certainly use that. Now, though, that gap has been reintroduced because the XLS is just so much quicker than the Huntley. So you've pretty much got to have an XLS. So that's another class that, although it wasn't completely fixed, there was a different option there. Now it's back to just being, you've got to have the XLS or that's it. And obviously it's the armoured version, not the regular version. So the SUVs is pretty much the same as the sedans class now, where it's got a well overpowered armoured vehicle at the top of it, and you can't choose anything else. But in general, they've done a good job with the cars, I think. Apart from that, which was a little bit of a misstep, the balancing has been very good, and the new cars are quite interesting. I quite like the 4-seater Windsor drop because it's a 4-seat convertible. And yeah, they've introduced some fresh ideas and some new stuff, and it's really, really good. But the problem comes now with the 3 new cars that we're going to be getting later on. So everybody knows about these new cars. Everybody knows that we're going to get 3 new cars. I've done it in a video as well, just to try and calm people down, to stop all the sort of the hype and the negativity about a potentially overpowered Proto X80 is what it's officially called. But it's the same old story again. And when you go back and you look at some of the more recent updates to GTA, you see the same pattern over and over again. And they've built up this pattern from testing these various things and testing the way to release DLCs and things like that. They've built up this over the course of the last few years, and now they're very, very good and very proficient at doing it, and very, very good at ultimately selling shark cards. And that's what this is all about. Ultimately, everything that you see in GTA Online these days is all about selling shark cards. That's why the prices are so high. That's why we get vehicles that are locked off for a while. It's the driving force of the entire game these days is all about shark cards. And I'm not saying that it wasn't before, but it seems to be a lot more insidious now in the way that they do it. And it all really started, to me, with the Ill-Gotten Gains update. The Ill-Gotten Gains update was the first time that they really tried to introduce some high price stuff. They had the gold vehicles that cost a hell of a lot of money. They introduced the Osiris and the T20 that were pushing $2 million to buy. And also what they did there was in part 1 of Ill-Gotten Gains, they introduced the Osiris, which was the new fastest supercar in the game. And then in part 2, they introduced the T20, which became the new fastest supercar in the game. So everybody rushed out to buy the Osiris, which was a very, very high-priced vehicle. And then a month later, they released the T20, and everybody then had to buy that one because that was the new fastest car in the game. So that's where it started for me, that they realised that they could get away with, and obviously they've got all the details about this, they know all the analytics and how many shark cards they're selling and how much stuff they're selling in-game. They realised at that point that they can get away with making vehicles a much higher price, and they can trick people into having to buy something first and then release something else later on and have to buy that one as well. Especially because people want the quickest stuff. Even if people aren't in the racing community, they want the quickest vehicle when they're just racing in general, and just for the sake of having the quickest vehicle. That's just the nature of people in general. So we've progressively seen it since then get a lot more, they're a lot more proficient at being able to do this. So let me just sort of throw something out there and see if you can see a pattern in how they do this, and see if you can apply it to previous updates as well. So what they do is they've got an update ready to go, and they've got some new cars, and for the what they do is that first of all they'll release this update and lock off a few vehicles. So you get the initial hype and the initial advertisements that Rockstar do with the newswire and all that stuff. They release all of that, and everybody's happy. Everybody buys all of the stuff that they release there. You know, the new cars, for example, they might have some that are well balanced and some that are close to the top. You know, we've seen that before with the Slam Van Custom from the new Lowriders update. We've got the two new vehicles in the Supers class that are well balanced. So people go out and buy all of that. But they lock off some vehicles away. So we've seen this now with the Lowriders update recently, and obviously now with the two new supercars and sports car that we're going to be getting at some point in the future. So they lock those off. But they're very clever about it, because they know full well that there are people who look at the game code and are going to sort of show that these cars are there. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that it's not incompetence on their part that they put it in the game code anyway. If they really wanted to hide it, they could do it. They would just not put the cars in the game code and push another update. They know exactly what they're doing. So what they do is pretty much they know that they've got a lot of YouTubers out there that they can pretty much play like little bitches. You know, that's what they're doing at this point, because they've got a lot of YouTubers who are more than happy to make 15 videos over one DLC and then make another 15 videos over the potential and speculation about some lines of game code. So all they have to do is lock those away, and they get so much free advertising from that. They get so much hype generated. They have all the initial hype and all the initial sales and all the initial shark card sales from people buying all the stuff that they actually give. And then no sooner is that over, that the hype continues, because everybody is wanting these new vehicles. Everybody is waiting for these new vehicles. All of these YouTubers are covering these new vehicles and speculating, and people are getting them in single player and trying them out, and everybody wants them again. So they know exactly what they're doing with that. They know that these YouTubers are going to cover it, and they're going to really, really cover it a lot. So that's why they do it. You know, they didn't used to lock off vehicles in this way in previous updates in the early part of the game. They never used to do that. They used to just release all of the vehicles. But they've seen that they can continue to get this hype, continue to get this free advertising from all of these YouTubers, even though they're not actually doing anything. All they're doing is just holding off some cars and not making them available straight away. So it generates that anticipation, it generates that advertisement, and all they have to do is just sit back and watch it happen. And obviously the YouTubers are all happy to do it, because they don't really care about the content that they're making. They don't care about quality content. All they care about is making as many videos as possible to get as many views as possible, so that they get as much money as possible. So it's a win-win-win all over the place. And then what happens is that Rockstar release the new vehicles. They might release them one by one, like they did with the recent Lowriders update. They might release them all together, like they did a few updates ago with other new vehicles. They release the new vehicles. They don't actually have to do any work for that. They just, flip a switch on the game, and it releases them to everybody, and everybody goes out and buys those. But the main point is with what they do with that is that one of those new vehicles is going to be overpowered. It's always the same. I mean, if you look back at the Lowriders update, we had the Slam Van Custom, which was quite on the pace of the muscle cars. We had quite a few other muscle cars introduced into the game. And then with the sort of secondary lot of cars, if you like, when Nintendo's on, we got the Sabre Turbo Custom, which was completely dominant. So everybody who spent all their money on all of the muscle cars that we got from the first part of the update then had to go out and spend more money on the Sabre Turbo Custom because it was the new quickest car in the game. Same with sort of what we're seeing now. It's quite likely that the new Proto X80 is going to be the new quickest supercar in the game. By how much is unsure, you know. It's certainly going to be on the pace. It's probably going to be the newest quickest supercar in the game. So everybody who's spent all their money buying the FMJ and the Reaper, they're going to be useless because the Proto X80 is going to come out and that's it. And then everybody has to then spend all more money. And ultimately that leads to shark card sales. And that's exactly what they do. And that's exactly what they want. So what they'll probably do, because from the little bits of clips that I've seen about the new cars, the 811, the Fiesta 811 seems to be a little bit slower around the track than the top supercars, but it does have high top speed. So what they'll probably do is they'll release the Fiesta 811 first, make sure everybody buys that car, and then they'll release the Proto X80 last, obviously, so that everybody then buys the Proto X80, driving the shark card sales, driving the fact that they want to get the amount of money in the game down, and just making sure that they make as much money as possible in the most sort of insidious way possible that they could do it. It's just such a shame that the majority of the game these days appears to be all about making those shark card sales. And you know, the YouTubers are more than happy to do that because they make a lot of money from all of the videos. The Rockstar know full well that the YouTubers are going to do that because they want to make money from the videos, and Rockstar play into that. They really do play into that. And you know, like I said, they know full well that they're leaving the code in there, and they know full well that everybody's going to get access to that. Some people are going to get access to these cars first of all. But all it does is just generate hype, generates advertisement for the game, keeps people interested until they actually decide to release the cars, and then everybody goes and buys those as well, driving those shark card sales. So, you know, that's the way that they do it. That's what they do with these updates these days. And it's just such a shame to me, and I really don't like it. So, you know, feel free to look back at some of the other updates and see if that applies. But it seems to be the same pattern now, and they've gotten very, very good at it and very good at exploiting as much of it as they can to make as much money as possible. The new stuff that we're getting is absolutely fantastic. It's just a shame that they're going this route with it, and it's being a little bit unscrupulous about it. And yeah, you know, they don't seem to care anymore about the quality of the game. Especially, they've never really cared about the quality of the game from a balance standpoint in terms of the classes. You know, how much have we gone on about this? And it looks like the Supers class could be ruined. You know, it's the most competitive class in the game now. Even that could be ruined. You know, we've had the muscle cars ruined. We've had the sports classics ruined. We've had progressively every single class of car, every single class ruined, just so that they can sell as much of that one car that is overpowered as possible. So it's just such a shame that is the thing that we're reduced to. And before I used to sort of think that they were just missteps, you know, with the Shafter V12 armoured being in the sedans class. I thought that may have just been a mistake. You know, it should have been in the sports class. The Sterling GT, maybe it was a mistake that the rear tyre adds traction like a spoiler. Maybe it's just a mistake. But when you look at it like this, it's clearly not a mistake. They know exactly what they're doing. They know that they want the one single car overpowered in a class because that means everybody's going to go out and buy it, and they exploit that to the maximum because they make sure to release that car last and make sure everybody buys all of the other cars first, and then have to spend more money on that overpowered car. And obviously the Proto X80, it looks like it's going to be probably the most expensive car in the game, you know, and it's going to be the fastest car in the game as well, and they know exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they're doing because they know they're going to buy people are going to buy shark cards for it. So, yeah, that's my analysis of the Finance of Felony DLC. That's pretty much it, you know. I don't even think that I'm going to do a rant if the Proto X80 is the quickest car in the game. The only thing that I'll say is, don't buy shark cards. Just don't do it. And hold off buying cars now. When we get DLCs, hold off buying the first batch of cars until you see my testing. And if there's some extra cars, I'll try to mention that there's some extra cars as well. And if any of them are going to be overpowered or look like they could be the new quickest, I'll try to mention it and try to say, you know, don't spend your money yet because we've got some new cars coming that may be quicker. You know, if I'd known this beforehand, I probably would have said, you know, don't buy the FMJ and the Reaper are balanced, but don't buy them. Don't waste your money because we've got new cars that are coming that could be quicker. Because, you know, it feels like I want to do the opposite of what all these big YouTubers are doing and what Rockstar are trying to do. All they're trying to do is sell shark cards, and I feel like I want to try to push back against that and not have you guys waste your money on this, because it's just such a shame in the way that they do it. Obviously, if you like the cars and you want to just have them, fair enough. But if you're low on money or you're considering buying a shark card to buy these things, just don't do it. Don't do it. Wait until the cars are released. Wait until my testing comes out, and then you can make an informed decision then. Otherwise, Rockstar are winning, essentially, and all of these exploitative methods that they're doing to make more money is working, and they're just going to continue to do it, and it's going to get even worse and worse as we go on. So yeah, just save your money. Don't buy anything. Don't buy anything in game. Don't buy any shark cards. If you have bought shark cards before, or you were considering buying a shark card, don't, you know, because if you do, you're sort of playing their game, and it's making them want to do this sort of thing even more. For me, I did buy shark cards when they were a lot more reasonable about it. You know, when they used to actually release a batch of cars just on their own that were well balanced, I would buy a shark card because I felt like, you know, they've done a good job there, and I should put some money into the game to help them develop it even further. But now they're exploiting that, and they're exploiting. You know, their main point with it now seems to be selling shark cards rather than making the game better. Yes, they're giving us some great stuff and some fun things, but it's all driven by shark card sales because it's so expensive, and they block some stuff off to create that hype and make sure people buy the new stuff. So that's my analysis. You know, I'm not going to get mad if the Proto X80 is going to be the new quickest supercar. I'm done with it now. I don't care. I said that in the last DLC analysis video. I know I said that the rant would be biblical, but when you realise how they're doing this and what they're doing, it's pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be the new quickest supercar, regardless of the stats, because that's just the way that they've gone with these previous DLCs in the past. So yeah, I'm not even going to be bothered. You know, I'm sick of it now. I'm done with it. They can do what they want. They're not going to get any more money out of me in terms of shark card sales. So I'm just going to try and make sure that you guys have the most informed information that you can, so you can make informed decisions and the most correct information, so that you're not wasting your money on this. And that's it. That's all I can do. And I'm going to try and cover the game in the most moral and upstanding way that I possibly can, if you like, and not try to exploit it like so many other people do and Rockstar seem to be doing themselves. So thank you guys for watching. You know, let me know all your thoughts down below. This is a discussion video. I do want to hear your thoughts about all of this. Is this something that, you know, have we been seeing this get worse and worse, or do you not agree with me? Do you think it's all fine what they're doing with it? You know, let me know your thoughts. I'm always interested to hear different sides of it. This is obviously just my take, but let me know all your thoughts down below. Obviously, this is a long video because it's a ranting video. I know a lot of people don't like these and think I repeat myself too much, but, you know, that's just this style of video, so I apologize if you don't like it. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all the support on the recent testing videos, and stay tuned because I will be bringing out testing videos for the new cars and hopefully make sure that you spend your money wisely. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really, really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.